There we go. Okay. It's June 14th, 9:01 a.m. here on the Pacific coast of North America. Wonderful, wonderful North America. But it's like the rest of the planet now. We're getting all kinds of strange energies from space. This is a brief, hopefully, hopefully, video about WooSci or woo-woo science. As we go forward into these next 15, 18 years, as we're going to restructure the social order in basically within humanity, but seriously within North America, a lot of the old underpinnings of control structures that were related, a lot of underpinnings of the old control structures will fall away. And these will fall away because they are actually bogus claims to science and not real at all. Very much like Fauci's claim that, we're going to have 28 million people dead here of the bioweapon that he paid to have engineered. The generalized social structure is under a great deal of stress because of fake news, fake money, divisive politics, Communist Party of China fucking around with our social order and trying to destabilize the Republic of USA and turn it into a communist dictatorship, and all different kinds of generalized mayhem and so on. But the thing is this a natural occurrence? Is it organic to humans that we're all just pissed now and it's been too long and I can't take it anymore, right? Or is it really a situation of we're all responding to energies and we don't perceive that we're receiving these energies. We don't perceive the impact of the energies on the emulsified microcrystalline antennas that are our brains, but the impacts are nonetheless there, and we're acting out those impacts as this energy is causing our neural masses to not function the way that it used to. And that a lot of it is triggered by hormone reactions that are much more surface level of the molecular biology as we go through. These signaling molecules go throughout the whole body. We know that you can turn systems on and off in the body with light, and that light penetrates quite deeply. So it's not too far of a stretch to understand that we may be being bombarded during this strange solar period with what I've termed strange energies from space, and we're all going a little bit batshit crazy because we don't know how to ground them out and deal with it, right? And it takes a little bit more than simply taking your shoes off and standing on some wet earth. That helps because of the ion exchange with the planet itself, and you actually do ground out the way that a hurricane grounds out over land by discharging all of its electricity, and then it goes, it's not that it gets cold. That warm water concept is bullshit, just like the idea that coronavirus is going to go away because the weather gets hot, because it gets warm in summer. That's horseshit. The reason that we have a seasonal affective response to coronavirus is because we all go out in the summertime and make more vitamin D, and so we get sick less, and fewer of us transmit it. Therefore, it dies over summer. So summer is not a good time if you're a virus, because your hosts are out there becoming para-immune. And we can prove that this is a fact just by tracking the seasonal, and everybody that's in medicine admits influenza, the coronaviruses are all, the common cold, are all seasonal. Well, why are they seasonal? What changes are in the course of seasons? It's not that the planet warms up, it's what changes with us, dumb fuckers. Academia really pisses me off frequently. As people will become aware if they're not already. So real quick, let's go through some stuff here. Okay, so as forecast, I think in July we'll notice for sure, but I've already seen the signs of it, that we've got our breakout in the innovation cycle. It's happening now. And one of the things that I know is one of the reasons, one of the indicators I know that this is actually breaking out is because now we're having the society within the North America try and formalize innovation and incentivize innovation here on our soil. Now, these guys think that they're doing it for, USA national security, okay? They want to have the chips made here. They want that kind of shit here. We want our research labs here. Fuck the Gong Fei, fuck the communist bandits. We want that shit here. And that's fine. But what's really cool for me is it was predicted that in 2020, year zero, we would begin an innovation cycle that had been stifled. Our innovation cycle should have ended, actually, should be in a waning cycle now. If things had been organic and natural since the late 80s, we would have been in a different part of the cycle now, which wouldn't have been very good for us because we would have been in a waning innovation cycle just as we're about to be hit by all of this strange energies, or as we are being hit by the strange energies from space that are going to lead into this ice age, right? And so that wouldn't have been good. But the powers that be, to try and maintain their own power and for all different kinds of weird fucking reasons, they stifled the innovation cycle, and it's busting out globally now, which is really good, okay? Because you can't suppress that kind of shit too long. So we're going to get a huge burst of innovation over these next couple of years that'll help us through these challenging periods. And so I know that this is going on here now, that innovation is being incentivized in law, and acts and, Congress fiddle farting around and all of that kind of shit. But that's the sign that we're about to head into that. And we're going to get all this stuff back here in terms of, research and so on. Now, another thing that's really good is that academic institutions they're dead, okay? Academic institutions here in the Northern Hemisphere, because of the COVID and because they won't be able to do their collective social engineering, if you want to call it that, on a student body, they're dead. This is actually good for innovation because academia stifles innovation. These guys are always squabbling and fighting about the dregs of people that are non-academics that end up being the inventors and all the creators and so on. And then they look at how many people, for instance, Norman Mailer is not an academic, but you got thousands of academics that make a career writing, writing about his writing, right? So all the secondary stuff. But these guys are not innovators. And so this here is a good thing. This here is a good thing, in my opinion, as well. This is an interrelated sign that that good thing is actually happening. So this is good. I mean, it's good in the overall sense of, it's a paddle in our little boat in Shit Creek. So that helps. Okay, so now it's turning out more and more evidence. There's no herd immunity to COVID, okay? That the SARS-CoV-2 virus is a bioweapon. It's a totally unique, humanity's never encountered it before. Fauci has fucked everybody along with Zheng and these other guys at the Wuhan labs and the various professors that were involved. Academia again. Academia fucked us over with creating the virus. So this is a double check mark. It's very good that the academic institutions are crapping all over themselves and puking their guts out and dying. Though they're morphing, actually. Something will occur and we have to accommodate that need to educate or to school. And so something will occur. We'll come up with something. Hopefully it'll be a shitload better. Anyway, so there's no herd immunity, and this is interrelated to China. Okay, so now it turns out there's no herd immunity. It's because it is a bioweapon. And I'm just saying that this is yet another check mark. There's been study after study, instance after instance showing up that you can't get antibodies, that antibodies in the in the sense of COVID here are relatively meaningless, they're transitory, and they may not even indicate what they usually indicate, which is a conference of immunity, permanent or otherwise. They may simply be an indication of exposure rather than, and your body's reaction to it, rather than an effective barrier. And so since there's no immunity and we know it's a bioweapon, this is yet more reason that the innovators among us should still be chaga gangsters. Okay, because the chaga gangsta mindset is that you're going to harden your body. You're not going to, you know you've got an immune system. You know the immune system's there to function. You're not going to fuck around. You're going to give your immune system what it needs in order that it can fight this stuff off, because you don't want to deal with it. Now, let's stop for a second and say that there's three kinds of immune systems, okay? You have a three-stage, let's say a three-stage immune system. At the beginning here, this area here, academic institutions do not even recognize it as immunity. So they're just talking about these two other kinds of immunity that lead over here to adaptive. And that's what produces the antigens. Okay, antigen, it's anti to the genetics of the virus. And all the virus is genetics without the structure of the cell. But in my way of thinking, if you've gone through 1, 2, and it's into 3, and you've got to get right here, you're really in a world of hurt. It's like they've gone and the castle of your body, you're already fighting in the inner courtyard, and they've gotten the virus taken over the outer part there. So this is not a good thing. So what I like doing is concentrating on this right here that is denied by academia. This right here, by the way, this first level of immunity is called para-immunity. And it's recognized by these biologists, these very strange, effective, super critical thinking biologists that have the hardest fucking job there is as biologists. Because of the nature of their work, they rise above the medical profession in a level you'll never understand. These people are veterinarians, okay? The vets. Because they recognize that para-immunity is prime. Para-immunity is having the vitamins into your system such that when the virus launches onto that first cell, your body says to itself, this ain't right. I don't like this. I'm going to go get it. I don't care what it is, okay? As opposed to having to wait for the body to say, it's attacking me. Oh, okay, I sort of recognize it. I can kind of do this. I don't like that. I want to just, someone's pounding on my door. I'm going to open that door and I'm going to immediately go into an Arimi attack. A repulsive thing. I'm not going to fuck around with it. I'll ask questions later. And so that's what para-immunity is. Get that virus before you're not even sure it's a virus, but you don't care. Your body says to hell with it. I don't care if you're a bacterium or a virus. You're out of here. So anyway, we don't have herd immunity. This turns out to be a big damn key to China, as does the bioweapon component of it. So imagine what's going to happen to our friendly old Gong Fei, the communist bandits. What's going to happen to them trying to maintain order and authority and control over what's left of 1.2 billion people after those people realize that what's been affecting them was caused by these guys as they invented this and then released it on them? They might be a little pissed. The Chinese people, they might be a little irritated. It might be a little bit harder for this few number of people to control that number of people. So I don't think China is going to be the most stable of environments over these next few years. So we'll watch that right there, and we'll say that that's a big shitstorm brewing, okay? And this is all going to happen here as the whole planet's going through an ice age. And we're still dealing with the bioweapon and all these other strange energies from space and all of this kind of shit. Plus, the CCP has been fucking around. They were part of the squashing of the innovation cycle. They were part of the reason that the USA needs to have this national security response again and bring back manufacturing to the US and say, basically, fuck you to China, to the CCP. We're not buying from you anymore. And all of that kind of stuff. And at the same time that all this is going on, China is trying to become globally expansive and start fucking around in the poles. Now, bear in mind, China's they're not like Canada. They don't have any land that, or Canada, Russia, the U.S., that kind of thing, in the North Pole. But they're deciding they're going to go claim resources there as well as in Antarctica. And in Antarctica, they're doing some really strange shit. They're in areas that are officially not allowed to them, and no one said anything about it yet. And these guys are building some giant bases down there. So anyway, another show, another discussion later on. But anyway, so we're going to get environmental impacts on these guys as we have environmental intrusions on all of humanity, a lot of which are going to be coming from the oceans over this year. And we're talking like this summer and into next year, right? Or into fall, winter, and next year. July is going to be really interesting. I think from July through September-ish, we'll see the pressure for the innovation cycle to be kick-started there with a big secrets revealed. And that, anyway, go into that again some other time. The environmental intrusions here, the oceans, are going to impact our Navy, but it's also going to really impact the Chinese Navy. Another thing to go into this here, first off, is there's no herd immunity. The Chinese populace, in general, does not do things to provide para-immunity. You can do things to provide para-immunity and enhance it, which would be taking vitamins, supplementing your diet with those things that your diet cannot provide you because the foods just don't have them in it, and or your body can't effectively extract them to the levels you need. Bear in mind, this is a bioweapon. It's not like a normal disease, so you need to be extra hard against it, unlike that normal disease that you could maybe just sort of slough off and, on your regular vitamin load. Here, that's not going to work. You're going to have to really boost your para-immunity by getting your vitamins up to these levels, right? And the Chinese people don't do this as a rule. They're not supplementers in the way that a lot of people in the U.S. are, or a lot of people in Europe may be, right? And so that's having an impact because since there is no herd immunity and since they're not supplementers, they keep running into this bioweapon continuously spreading throughout China, causing further and further and further problems to the CCP, not only in battling the bioweapon, the actual virus itself, but also the things they have to do to the public in their minds to maintain both control and to battle the bioweapon, right? And they can't say it's a bioweapon, or they can say it's a bioweapon, but they can't say that they had a part in it and they know for sure. All they can do is allude to the idea that, oh, maybe it's a bioweapon released by our enemies. But nonetheless, they made it. The CCP knows they made it, and the CCP is still dying from it, as are the people in China, because it's striking them disproportionately hard, and it is not done. So 2 years out, we'll still be dealing with this, unlike, in my opinion, the influenza issues in 1918 through 1920. I think this will continue unless we come up with something. I think the bioweapon presence will be around for the next 2 years or more longer than 2 years. In any event, so we've got all of this stuff going on right here. China is going to get a little bit flakier than they are now. Yeah, the West is reacting weirdly to the strange energies from space and being prompted by the Chinese agents here in the U.S. with their structured social engineering approach, and so on and so on. But we have yet to see how the environmental intrusions are going to hit us, right? Now, the sun is too far north for the time of the year. You can validate me on this on the 21st. That's the solstice. The sun should be at 23.5. more or less. It's almost precise this year. Should be almost precise this year. That it should be at 23.5 degrees north of the equator. So you can get a, wherever you are, it doesn't matter. You can figure this out mathematically. It's not that difficult. And you can see where it should be, right? So you can get a tube. You can get a tube, a hollow tube, like a toilet paper roll, should you have one of those relics of the past bygone eras. And, okay, so let me just erase the stupid academic institutions. And for a moment, we'll erase our para-immunity. Okay, so you get yourself a tube, and we'll just say that this is our little cardboard tube. You set it on a sheet of paper, and at noon, at the zenith of the sun, at noon, wherever the sun is, if you're at 23.5 degrees of latitude, then the sun should shine straight down that tube, right? So the sun's up here, it's got its little rays coming out, and those little rays should come straight down that tube such that there's no shadow showing inside the tube. And so you'll just be able to look straight down and you won't see any shadow. Now, most of us are not going to live on 23.5 degrees. I don't. I live up at 47 degrees. So here's what I have to do. So for me, at noon, the sun's not going to be directly overhead there. The sun's going to be, I'm out over here, right? So I'm out here, and the sun's up over here relative to this tube here. How do I, all right. So let me explain it this way. We're going to need to see this. So this is our sheet of paper. This is an image of the walls of the tube looking straight down into the tube. From my perspective, up here at 47 degrees, the sun is going to create a shadow that will look something like this in the bottom of the tube. It'll look something like that. It'll look sort of like the moon, you know, as it goes into one of its waning or waxing cycles. Now, what's actually happening here is that the rays of the sun are coming down and like this, and we're basically getting this shadow effect that creates the shadow at the far side, right? And so using this as a gnomon, you can actually figure out, you can see where the furthest point is here, where this point is right there on your shadow, and figure out where the sun would have to be up here. And so all you have to do is to figure this angle right there, and then you'll know its reciprocal, which will tell you how far away the sun is from your position, or from 23.5, right? So I could actually figure out I'm at 47 degrees latitude on June 21st with a little piece of cardboard tube and a sheet of paper and a ruler. And as long as the ruler was finely enough, I wouldn't even need to have it finely enough. I could use a compass or a couple of points to do it. So I could tell I was at 47 degrees simply by the size of the shadow within the cardboard tube. So toilet paper tubes are very useful, with or without the toilet paper, but only on this particular day. You can calculate it on other days, but then you're talking some real math. All right, and that's where people get really wonky, is because they do it and they think they're geniuses. And it's super, super, super arithmetic. But in any event, so the sun, we think, is too far north. Now let's examine that really quickly, okay? If we had the situation where the sun was here and Earth is out here and all the other planets are circling the equator of the sun, this could not happen without something significant occurring to the Earth, because if the sun is too far north, then the Earth must be dipping way down to the south relative to the equator of the sun, and in how it's impacting the Earth in terms of its light. And that's not the case at all. Okay, the Earth does not have, in order for this to be true, if we are in what is known as a heliocentric orbit, where we orbited the equator of the sun, if this were true, we'd have to have massive movements of the planet that would have, giant earthquake effects and all that kind of thing. But we don't live that way. Our planet doesn't operate that way. We exist in a helical orbit, So we're actually trailing behind the sun. The sun's moving this way, and we're actually out here somewhere. And so we're getting light like this. And in order for us to have the sun too far north, we only have to move a small fraction. We only have to change our relationship a small fraction, because the sun is already just between the tropics, providing us the illusion that we're sort of orbiting. We're not really orbiting the middle of it at all. But in any event, though, because all the planets are in a big cone back here, our relationship to the sun is determined not by this kind of math from right there to where it appears to be right at the moment, but much more like this kind of math, where you can't even really distinguish the variance. There's just a little tiny bit of variance down at this level. And so this sort of shit right here is yet another indicator that we don't have a orbit around the sun in the equator kind of a solar system. So anyway, June 21, get out your toilet paper rolls, all right? Okay, so environmental intrusions, oceans are going to bring us all kinds of interesting things. As per the old ALTA reports, when we get into this ocean crap, this period of the oceans behaving wonky again, as they did way back in 2002, 2003, they'd go away, giant tides that wouldn't come back on cycle, this sort of thing. As that occurs again, we're going to get in a lot more secrets revealed as stuff becomes exposed. And I would look for that significantly more towards the end of this year and into 2021. China's going to get the shit kicked out of it by the COVID, and it's going to cause problems for the Gong Fei, for the communist bastards, the bandits. There is no herd immunity. Keep your vitamins up. Keep taking the chaga. You got to harden yourself. Be one of the people that survives. All right. Now the innovation cycle. This is really the whole point of doing all of this here. Secrets Revealed is going to be cool too. Okay. If I am correct, there will be some level of impetus, some kind of pressure that will create a situation in which officialdom, USA president, who the hell knows, but officialdom will release some of the secrets revealed from the woo-woo world, okay, from woo-woo science. Now, woo-woo science it contains an appropriate model of universe around the idea of ether, and disregards the inappropriate bizarreness of quantum thinking. And in the ether world, we get things done. In quantum thinking world, we devolve into mathematics and spend bazillions of dollars building CERN and tokamaks that never provide us what their claimed their goal was. They may actually be trying to do something else with CERN, but that's another topic for another time. So in woo-woo science world, it does not matter whether the technology is ancient previous age humans or ancient previous age some other species on this planet, or modern crashed humans in technology not of this earth, or modern crashed beings in technology not of this earth. And I say crashed, I mean captured. In other words, we have some stuff that we're trying to re-engineer, figure basically what the fuck, how does this thing work? And they know some things, but they don't know a whole lot. But there may be a point coming up in July, likely, August or September. That's when the pressure was indicated to appear within the data sets, was across the actual summer itself of year 0. And this pressure was going to cause officialdom to leak out. And just the mere leaking out of the little bit causes the, whoa, what the hell, as everybody tries to wrap their head around some stuff, and then all kinds of new things appear simply because our minds are free. And we're able to grasp what's going on with new information, and it leads into a giant innovation cycle just when we need it as we go into this ice age. And that was pretty much, the overall plot line, for lack of a better word, of the data, right? Okay, so all right, so there's a few more things on my list here. I got a couple of minutes. I'm trying to keep these to a half hour or less. No sense wasting people's time. Plus, I'm coding and it's fun. I'm getting shit done, so I got to get back to it. Okay, so now I'm going to harmonize. So my way of reacting to all of this crap here is to keep doing what I'm doing to keep the virus out of my environment, because I don't want to be challenged by it, okay? I do not think I'm susceptible. I worry about my wife and other individuals in my care, but I think they're a little bit hardened against it, but I don't want to be challenged by it at this time. So I'm still maintaining all of my approaches to keeping the virus actually off of the property. The issue with the virus is this. If you had it on the surfaces, you're probably safe. You don't have enough ACE2 receptors on your fingers and this kind of thing. You have to actually pick it up on mucous membranes. So the most likely point of exposure is eliminated by a mask. So in spite of the PSYOP that goes along with the mask, if you have COVID, you're doing everybody a favor by wearing that mask, because you're not exposing them to your viral load. And even healthy people or near healthy people, like doctors and nurses who go out and get sun and stuff, they don't supplement, but they're sort of healthy, right? They may play tennis or golf or something and be active, and so they're sort of the healthy guy in their environment. But all these doctors and nurses are under fluorescent lights. They're drinking soda pop, so their bodies are degraded. But there are healthy. Basically, they think of themselves as the healthy ones, and they're dropping over once the viral load gets to be a certain point. So you've got to be extra hard against that viral load, and I like the "and" part. Keep the viral load as low as possible while you're hardening yourself up even more. So that's one thing I'm doing about the virus aspect, is I'm keeping all of my precautions here. I don't see any reason to let up for the next few years. The virus is going to be around. We have to deal with it, right? It's not fake. It's a bioweapon. It's killing the fuck out of the Chinese. It's destroying the Chinese Communist Party's relationship to their own people in a way that they never, ever, ever could have imagined. And it's getting worse by the day, and it's going to accumulate in my thinking. My conclusion is that the Gong Fei will be done away with, all right? Circumstances and their own stupidity. Anyway, so now what I wanted to talk about is harmonizing with the innovation stuff. That's what I'm doing, all right? So imagine a situation here where we have energies coming in from space, and they're affecting your antenna inside your antenna support structure, which is your skull. And so they're going to cause you to react in various different ways. If you're aware of them and if you're unaware of them, either way, you're still going to be influenced by them. Now, if you're aware of them, you may be able to do things like deliberately plan for activities that would tend to lower the negative aspects of them, so you're going to increase your exercise level to deal with some of the hormones, et cetera, et cetera. This kind of thing. You're going to have the vitamin D, the vitamin C. You're going to get your chaga so that your immune systems are moderated, ameliorated, because it's your immune system that's also reacting to this. Okay, you can trigger effects on the human immune system with light in the eyes. And so, zing, a piece of gamma ray right through you, and your immune system is going to react. If your immune system is moderated and has these supporting necessary signaling molecules, it's going to say, okay, one of those, and not worry about it. So you need to do these kind of things. You can plan to do activities that will harmonize with the energies as they're going to express themselves within your body. And that's sort of what I'm doing. It's for me, it's gotten to be sort of a big charge in terms of thinking, especially now that I'm getting myself physically fit again from the cancer and the horrors of the cancer surgery, and I'm recovering from the anesthesia. I've decided to get really serious during this period of time where we're isolated, and sort of do like what was his name? Shakespeare. He sat around and wrote really good plays. Well, I wrote a really good screenplay, a really funny comedy, but I can't get anybody to make it. And of course, these days it's going to be difficult anyway. But I'm going back and I'm doing programming now, and I'm working on some things at a deep work level. Now, deep work is focused work. It's not necessarily deep thought. It's deeply focused, continuous thought. In my opinion, it also has the quality of having a goal at the end of it, right? So now a lot of people like heavy-duty mathematicians, they'll have a goal at the end of their deep thought, but they squirrel down into insanity, right? Because their goal is abstract. There's no, it's entirely abstract, can never be proven. It only exists in their minds and in the minds of people that they can convince that their mathematics are correct. And unless it can be validated by a real world practicality, I'm not much interested in it. And I tend to think of such people as being deep thinkers and probably crazy, probably quite a bit squirrely, because they're not broad enough to be able to apply it to anything. So what I'm doing is innovation cycle with the idea of some real gains for myself and, working on my floating RV and this sort of thing. So I'm delving deep into Boscovich. Now, as a side effect to that, I discovered some stuff in reading that led me to noodle some formula for computer programs. And so because I started doing that, it dawned on me, oh, geez, there's a lot of stuff in here that has never been examined relative to computer-generated graphics, right? Computer-generated images. And so what I ended up doing was there's going to be a ton of stuff here for patents, tons of patents, as we go forward in the innovation cycle. So I got smart about it and took time to write a YAML template in my Emacs editor that I can call up, quickly populate, and save out. And then I've got a little eLisp program that will go through there and convert it to a PDF. And then I just go online to my account at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and I can file these patent applications, boom, 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 without a lot of the fiddle farting around. Because I don't have to do the processing, I don't have to worry about the formatting and stuff, just the one-time write with the eList program and off you go. But tremendous amounts of potential new areas of innovation and so on as we're going through here. So now if you're a non-innovative guy yourself, and you're like in an investor, this is going to be a very good time to focus in on the fact that, I took it off, that the USA is pushing incentivized innovation on our soil. Nothing is better for growing an economy than incentivized innovation right there in your backyard. I guess that's it. I've got some stuff here, but I've got to write my patent stuff up and then I can talk about it. Prior to that, it's unwise. So I'll shut this off. Oh, 37 minutes, damn. Okay, a little long. I'll try better next time. Anyway, it's going to be a fun summer. Figure out where you're going to want to be in this stuff. The innovation cycle stuff is going to be really interesting. It'll be nationwide. Everybody should be able to find some area if you want to get in and participate to that.